Okay, the first thing that you want to do in order to use your smart responders and take this information and be able to put it in Data Director, you're going to first have to start off by creating an answer sheet in Smart Notebook. If you don't have the most current version of the Smart Notebook software, you're going to need to ask for the update. You're going to need to send an email to either myself or to Renee Kitchens and let us know your computer name. If you need help with that, just let us know. But if you have the most current version, you need to go up to your toolbar where it says Response, go down and click where it says Create Answer Key. Here you can type in the title of your assessment. I'm just going to put Library Orientation. And then you can simply create your answer sheet. You can say if it's multiple choice, true or false, yes, no, multiple answer, text, and number, fraction, or decimal. What you're probably going to want to do is limit it to multiple choice or true and false. That's what most people do. So we're going to do multiple choice. We're going to have 4 choices and we're going to just randomly select a correct answer right now. Okay, we have 10 of those and we're going to hit create. Now at this point, what you can do is you can just go ahead and start your assessment like you would normally do with the responders, or as you may call them, the clickers, and let the students answer the questions. Most people have a paper form of the test and let the kids work at their own pace. When they get done, then the kids can go back and review and see which ones they missed or got incorrect, so they can get an idea right away as to what their score is. And you can also get an idea of that and see where some kids may have missed certain problems and differentiate with that with your instruction. Now we're going to take a moment and we're going to go into how to set this information up and actually get these responses in a format that they can go into Data Director. Okay, now that our students have completed the assessment and they have understood what their grade is, because they can go back and check that on the Smart Responders, and you can also look at it just a general picture and show them in a graph form up on your smart board. We need to put this information into a format that you can actually import into Data Director. You simply go back to Smart Notebook, log in, go back to Response, then scroll down to where it says Report Results To. We want to export the results as a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet because we're going to actually have to change some things so that we can save it as a comma separated values or CSV file a little bit later. So let's go ahead and export the results to a Microsoft Excel file. When you export your results to a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, they're going to come out looking a little like this. So you're probably going to have more students. This is just my sample for you to take a look at, and it has the information. As I said, we're going to have to reconfigure this just a little bit so that you can import it into Data Director. What we're going to need to do is take the student information, highlight those. You can hit copy, and we're going to actually just create a new spreadsheet. I'm going to put this information starting on line 2 because we have to put some information in line 1. The information that we're going to have to put is some header information. We're going to have to set up the Excel spreadsheet with the following column headings. Row A1 should be User ID. B1 should be Student Name. C1 should be Student ID. And the rest of these should be the questions, and you can go through and put Q1, Q2, Q3 on down the line if you want to, or that's not really necessary. You don't have to, but if you want to, you certainly can. Now I want to caution you about the student ID. The student ID must be the student's Georgia testing ID for it to be imported into Data Director correctly. If you have your students in by their Infinite Campus password in your Smart Responders, you're going to need to change that information over to their testing ID. If you do it one time, you shouldn't have to do it anymore. If you go ahead and change it in your Smart Responder grade book, you should have it done. All right. Let's take a look. What is the user ID? That is the teacher ID. You can put that if you want to, or you can leave it blank. Student name, it's there, usually by the last name first, however you put it into your Smart Responder software. It's not necessary either. The only thing that's really absolutely necessary is the student ID number, that Georgia Testing ID, and the student responses. Once we have that, we need to go and click to save, and we want to save it as other format. Alright, and we want to save it as a CSV, which is a CSV comma delimited. We can save it wherever we want to and entitle it what we want. And we click save. And it's okay if that comes up, just hit OK. Okay, once you have the information saved into a CSV file, you need to go to Data Director and you need to log in. Once you do that, you're going to be able to see your students. Click on My Students. All right. If you haven't seen Data Director lately, it has gone through a dramatic change in its interface. What we need to do is go and we can either click at the top to the switcher and find assessments that way, or down at the bottom you can find assessments. Either way. We're going to click on it, and what we need to do is actually create an assessment, and we're going to create a new answer sheet. I'm going to tell you while this is loading up here that Kara Bockholt has told us that Data Director works better in Internet Explorer and in Firefox. It does not work so well in the Google Chrome, so be mindful of that when you're trying to create assessments, because it is all web-based and it will freeze up your computer if you try to use it in some other program. So just try a different one if you're having trouble in one. Alright, and I'm just going to say this is library orientation demonstration, and of course I got to fill out a grade, a subject area, a type, and this is user created, and I put down the school year. Okay. And I can upload a file if I want to actually put the questions there in case I don't want to keep a hard copy of it, or in case I happen to lose it, I can. And if I had standards, I could align those standards at this time so that I can have that to look back at the data, because that's the important part of putting this into Data Director, so we can actually see how it relates. That's what we want. Okay, now let's take a moment and let's add our standards. We click on Add Standards. And we're going to take a look at our Georgia Performance Standards. I'm going to use the English Language Arts just to demonstrate. I'm going to go down to grade 9 and go ahead and click a few of those. Now I actually want to put my answer key in here in Data Director. Yes, I know you put your answer key in the Smart Response, but this is where you can actually link it up to the standards and see it in Data Director. This is the way I know how to do it. If you find a better way, by all means use it. If I want to add multiple questions, I can click on the Add Multiple Questions, and you'll notice that I can put up to 100 questions if I want. I'm going to caution you, the more you put, the slower it gets. So I'm just doing the 10 that I had on my answer sheet from before, and I'm going to hit Add Questions. It's going to pop up, and all of my questions were multiple choice, and then I can just put in my answer key once again right here. Just bubble them in like you would normally do if you're using Data Director. And you can change your point values. Over here where it says standards, this is where you can actually link to those standards up above. Just going to practice just for a few of these. Okay. All right, we're not going to do them all, but that was just for you to see what to do. And you click Save at the bottom. Okay, now your assessment is in just like you would do if you were actually doing it in Data Director with the bubble sheets. Now that we have the assessment created in Data Director, we can go back up to where our Find Assessments are, and we can see it there. We can click on Library Orientation Demonstration. That's the one I created. Notice there's no information, but if we look down under Data Management, here's where we'll find Upload Student Response Data. We want to click on that. We want to browse for our file that we're looking for. I notice that I have Library Orientation Demonstration. It is a CSV file, and I click to open. Then I need to select the following options. This is a comma delimited file. The value data enclosed is in neither, it's not in quotes, so it's neither. This is not a test key. Is the first row of your file a header row? Yes, it is. And if data already exists, do you want to have the incoming data overwrite the existing ones? You could say yes or no. If you've already answered and you need to go back and replace it, by all means put yes. But if you haven't had any answers, then you can say no. Now, this is where we need to make some selections. The student IDs, very important. As I told you, that's the one piece of information that is needed other than the student answers. So we select where that is at. By having the header row up here, it makes it a lot easier for us to find this. All right, we select the column with the student IDs. Then we select the user IDs, and that is actually the teacher ID. If you had one, you could put it in there, but you don't necessarily have to. You can put first column containing the smart response data. That is your answers, so you can click on that. And you can put versions if you have different versions, the class period if you wanted that, form, level, and if you had them separated out and you wanted to put their names with it, you could do that as well, but it's going to find that information and put it in Data Director for you anyway. So all you really need is the student ID, and you need to click where the user ID is and the response data. Go down and click on Go. Alright, and it's going to say that your assessment data was successfully uploaded, and it's going to be scheduled to be scored. Okay, once you have uploaded your CSV file, it's going to take a couple of minutes for it actually to grade it and put it into Data Director, so give it just a little bit. And once you get done, you're going to see where it says students tested. Now here I just had two that I was playing around with, and I just put in some answers. Hopefully your scores will be a lot better than what I have here. And we have the max score, the minimum score, mean, and median. The same information that you would have if you did the same bubble sheets in Data Director. So you have the same report, so you could look at it, and if you lead you in your instruction to make it a little bit better for the students to comprehend if you know what they're not understanding. So that's how you can use Data Director. Hopefully this has given you something that you may use. By no means are you required to use it, but it's a way that you can seamlessly use your class responders from your smart response systems and have that information put into Data Director. That was something that a lot lot of teachers had wanted, and that's something that I've been working on for a pretty good while now, and I finally managed to get that under my belt. So if you have any questions, by all means contact me, Laurie Griffin. I'm either at the Ninth Grade Academy or over at the main campus, and I will be happy to help you in any way I can. Thank you.